Hey guys, I'll be starting in about a minute or two. Hey Dave, thanks for stopping. James, Greg, this is the Pat's Hall channel. We're going to talk about the market. So stay tuned. Yeah, I got a Coke Zero there. If anybody follows the market, it was a rough week. Let me get started about a minute here, guys. It's not going to be a real long video, probably about 15 minutes of your time, so thank you for joining us. Okay, that was a naval band there. That was pretty good, actually. Hey guys, welcome. I'm taking about 15 minutes of your time to talk about the market this past week. Craig, thanks for joining us. As if anyone that follows the market probably had one of the most a lot of that is obviously related to the coronavirus. Everybody can hear me fine, right? I think so. Thumbs up. I know a couple days ago when I tried to do this, I took myself out and didn't realize they couldn't hear me. So James and Dave and Heather, thanks for stopping. I appreciate it. Just basically going to touch on some stocks here. You can hear good. All right. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it. Like the screen here. I get that much bigger there, it just shifts me over there. So, all right. The market was down, buffering slightly. Okay. Yeah, no, it's still good on my end. So maybe, that slight delay. But as everybody knows, I mean, the approximately 3,500 points this past week. The 5-day was down 12.3%. The NASDAQ was actually down for 5 days. Let's look at the numbers here. The NASDAQ was down 10.5%. The S&P was down about 11.5%. I mean, some big moves in stocks, and not sure. I mean, obviously, if you're watching from a mobile device, you can't see the charts as big, but I mean, you got one of the stocks that I always like to talk about is Disney. You got Disney that basically was $140 a week, $117.65, but Friday had a swing of 113.21 to 118.31. So there was a 5-point swing just in Disney alone. Another stock that we follow, Viacom. Now, Viacom had some activity. The last finally stepping up to buy because Viacom got to go with their earnings that were because they merged with CBS. So they but here you can see the stock. I mean, this was about 2 weeks ago. It was about $37. Now, if you look at the chart here, this red, once it gets below that, that means it's oversold. sold. So there's going to be a lot of stuff for about as long as over we can hear like a substantial amount of people being dying or sick. The more kind of calm down. Could get some people that come in Monday and maybe sell some stocks, but I really think we're at a point where we could get probably 1,000-point bounce and of the drop that we had this past week. A move like that is very rare. I mean, typically you basically had a 4 or 5 month gain wiped out in 1 week. I mean, the likes of, let me show you the likes of Microsoft. Microsoft was, hold on. I don't like the look time. You got Microsoft that 2 weeks ago was at 190 and was down to 162. And clearly when they break these moving averages, these 50-day moving averages, we're looking for support probably at the 200-day moving average, 145. Tesla had gone from like 500 to 900 in January. Time I think on Friday was down to 611, if I recall correctly. Yes, Tesla was down to 611.52 and actually closed at 668. So that stock alone had a swing of 690 to 611. If you look at all the green in this chart since November, many times it was overbought. Now it's getting at a point. Now it's showing support, basically 611, showing support at 607.48. So it almost hit that 50-day average moving, and you're going to have some. This is a perfect opportunity. People that like to get in and out stocks and trade the market. With that being said, hey, Destiny, what's up? Talking about some stocks here. I don't know if you're interested in this type of stuff, but I enjoy talking about it. I was short, and I'll show you this. I was short. Short means when you sell a stock in your brokerage account and you sell it hoping to turn around and buy it back at a lower price, and you keep the difference. So if you sell something, for example, at $10 and you have the opportunity to pick it up a week later at $5, buy them back at $5 and pocket the difference. As you can see here, Facebook was down, but you see this big white candle on Friday. Facebook actually closed up 272. I was sure I made like $400 on this past week. But I mean, look at the low. The low on Friday was 181, and the high was 192.74. So you had about 11-point move there, about a 4.5% just on that stock on the swing alone. So people obviously are stepping in on Friday with that big long white candle and buying the stock. I had the options. I didn't have the options, excuse me. I was looking at the options at $1.97, and on Thursday, they alone were worth about $18. So now you say, what does that mean? You could have bought one contract for $197 and sold it for $1,800. Tuesday, it was $1.97, and Thursday, I could have sold for $1,800. Now, here's the thing. On Friday, you see that 10-point swing? You could have sold that Friday morning only $2,000, $2,100 from $200 to $2,100, 10 times your money. But see what happened? It closed out at $192.47. Now, it was a 200 put, so it still would have been worth $700, $1,100 because of all that buying. Another stock that I short in, and I really didn't make no money, but I didn't lose, Home Depot, because they came in their earnings better people had thought, and that's see here's Home Depot. Home Depot basically a week ago was $248 and closed at $217.84. Let me close this down. I'm on right now on stockcharts.com. That's one of the sites that I use to look at charts. And charts are very important because charts where stocks, the history of stocks. You can't just be guessing it. Where support is, and you got to look at volume. See here the past week, there was a lot. Meaning there was a lot of, and that just honestly overlies with the overall market that was down. I really think we have going on here that is, but I honestly think we probably see the high. I don't think we see us taking out the high, but I don't see this. We can't keep going down 3% a week. You can see that clearly the Dow is oversold, and I predict that we're going to go back up. So everybody, if you're investing in your 401k, don't worry about it. Continue to put your 401k money in at $200, $300 a month. You'll be fine. It just means right now you're getting cheaper prices. We continue to hold Viacom, Disney, Walgreens. We have Lyft, and actually I'm helping a guy manage some money that we bought. We took a position on Friday. We're going to buy some more stock on probably Monday, and we're really looking at Disney. Disney is having some issues because of they're closing the park down overseas for months, so that's going to cost them. Hey, Christine B, thank you for stopping. This was just a short video. We're talking about the market correction this past week. Nobody should be selling right now. Nobody should be panicking. If you need the money this year, you should have been in the market in the first place. If you don't need the money really more than 2 years down the road, nobody should be selling right now. Do I think that we've hit our high of the year? Possibly, yes. Do I think we could possibly touch it again? Yes, but I think that we've hit our high, and we are now going to be in, and I think also because of a political year, we are going to be up and down because of people worried about who's going to be the next president and, what's going to happen as far as that. We had a mess this past week. The Dow dropping that much. I mean, even here, I'm going to show a long-term chart. And this stuff, Christine, thanks for stopping. If you follow stocks, it might be a little bit boring. I apologize, but everybody thinks that stocks are for rich people, but many people get jobs and have IRAs or in the corporate have retirement. Here's a weekly view too. I mean, look at that big red bar. Let me see. Can you guys see that? Yeah, the red bar to the right. This was a rough week. You go back basically the last year and a half, 2 years since September of 2018, and you really never see a red bar that long. Now, back here in December, there was 3 weeks that it went down approximately about 8%. And guess what happened? The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It took 3 weeks for it to drop and 10 weeks for it to recoup and come right back, but it did. And I predict that we will probably over the next week or two, we will probably, as long as there's no spike in the coronavirus deaths or some, hits the over here, big numbers or something like that, as it settles down and they saying that, hey, they have some sort of control of it, the market will stabilize and people will stop selling and be a little bit more comfortable. But until that happens, but if you're dollar cost averaging every month, there's nothing to worry about. These things happen. Stocks over the long term always do fine. I mean, the last 3.5 years, we've had some phenomenal growth and stuff like that. I mean, you could get a market this year that's down 20%, for example, and we're already down basically 12.5%. You can get a market that even so another 8% more, but yet the market has returned 70% in the past 3 years. These are the opportunities to step in and look at some good safe stocks and buy. One of the stocks I like is Disney, and Disney is not going out of business. They're still going to be around. There's a lot of solid companies that got hit this past week, and they'll be fine in the long term. So, as you can see, unlike my other channel, hey, have you taken a glance at Delta? Delta and do you know the symbol, Ansley? I'm glad you asked that, because this is what I want to encourage. Obviously at my other channel, I have over 2,000 subscribers, and over here at Pat's Hall, I only have about 160. I will look at it. Let's pull it up. And I appreciate that, Dave. I like people to ask. One of the stocks, I could tell you right now, there's two stocks I'm going to like, but it might take a year for it to recover, is Carnival Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean. Delta. Yeah, look at Delta. Delta was at $58 and closed at $46 on Friday. So again, that had a huge drop. And look at the red bar there. And airline stocks, if you look at that chart, it clearly has broken down. 44 to 60. Look at the range here. It's clearly broken out of that range. So probably what will happen is they will announce that they've obviously could have an impact on their stock. And that's one of those stocks that probably won't as easily bounce. With less travel, they're going to take a hit on their earnings for 3 to 6 months. Delta is clearly oversold here. Obviously, if you, Ansley, I'm not sure if you work for Delta and stuff like that, but if you have it in your 401k, in the coronavirus, obviously the stock will recover. But if they come out and say, hey, look, travel is because they're talking now. I was in Japan about closing. Travel is definitely going to be down, especially airline travel, because they're stopping people from coming here from other countries. Just announced that they canceled something. So when you got thousands and thousands of people not traveling per day, people don't realize. I remember when 9/11 was, I never realized that at one time you got 5,000 planes in the air. What's the typical plane carry? 300 people, really not a lot of people. So it takes a lot of planes to, move people around. Personally, Delta is not one that I would invest in. I'm not a big fan of airlines because it is as the price of fuel is down. Hey, Jennifer Hayes, thank you for stopping. Yes, you're right, Ansley. What are the futures doing right now? Some stock were just we might have another down day tomorrow. Let me look at them. Let me see what it says. Now I go on Twitter. On my phone, I have the Twitter. I have the CNBC. I follow a lot. I study the market every day. There's one guy I follow that has turned 10,000 into like $500,000 this past week, just trading in options. Dow futures. Hold on. Hey, Steve. Good afternoon. How are you? Getting ready to go to Dixon City. Just taking. Right now, the futures are kind of flat. So that's what it's showing on CNBC. So not much is going on there. Steve, thanks for stopping. Talking about the market this past week. I don't know how it affected you. Affected my son's account, but I'm not worried. Actually, my youngest son, Big Red, who follows me, I told him, and we put $1,000 into the market on Friday. This is the time for anybody, to be honest, that needs money 2 years out. These are the times. There's going to be some trading opportunities to make money. So, He'll be fine. Does anybody else, Steve? What stock do you follow that I can pull up on a chart? I know that Steve has given me a couple recommendations. Steve is a local friend of mine that lives in the area and has helped me with some eBay stuff, and he follows the market and is successful and stuff like that. And I follow the market every day and stuff like that. And there don't sell ALS. Okay, I'm honestly I'm not selling anything. I actually was short Home Depot and Facebook if you came in late, and I covered those this week and made $400. I mean, now people say, "How'd you make $400? How much did you have to risk doing that?" Oh, ALS doesn't come out, so maybe that's a different stock. Let me see. Oh, Alcorn. Do you know what the ticker symbol is? That's where I like, and it's going to take time, I know, to build up this channel. And I do this. Oh, ALC. So let's pull up ALC. It takes time, and, not ever once if they don't understand it. Sometimes when people don't understand things, they just, I think that's invest in yourself. You got to invest in in the bank as far as a safety net. Okay, hold on. It's taking some time to pull up. Let me put up the Alcorn. Let me pull this up. I can't keep too many screens open because when I do that, then it kind of drags. So I have to have limited screens up or it jams up. Okay, Alcorn. Well, there you go. Alcorn was up to 65, and now it's down to 61. I didn't really have that. I mean, really only about an 8% when the market was down 12.5%. It really wasn't that bad as far as you can only it might be your connection. I apologize because I have the mic on and I'm the only one online. Oh, okay. I apologize about that. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, and that's the tough part when you're doing it by yourself because you don't realize Merck stock. Okay, let's pull up Merck. Merck, Merck at 92 back in January. Now it's down to 76. Here's another. Let's go to Yahoo real quick. In knowing what some of these companies do. It's mine, and be honest, I don't see anything going glitching or not sure what's going on. Merck, I think a lot of pharmaceutical, you're just getting issues as far as people wondering who the president's going to be and how it's going to impact pharmaceutical stocks, because right away pharmaceuticals are always the enemy as far as Merck. Yeah.
They have a big lawsuit against them for the EpiPen thing.
Oh. Okay. My wife she heard me talking about Merck, and they said they penning about the EpiPen. But if you want to look up information and find out what some companies are, it's funny screen here, and once it should fix maybe a little bit of this lag in this. I'm going to be able to have two screens up, one that I can show where I'm showing some of the information and one where I can actually watch the chat at the same time. But my point is, if you want to look up where a company is and what they're about, a great resource that's free is go on to Yahoo Finance. Steve mentioned Alcorn. So what we can do is we put this stock symbol in there, ALC. And I honestly don't know. I know that Steve follows a lot of pharmaceutical companies, but here's where we can go in and exactly pull up a chart, information, and see what the company does. So let's profile. So here we can click on profile. And there's a lot. See, that's the thing. There's a lot of free information going back 20 years ago that you wouldn't be able. You would have to subscribe to a newspaper. So they are in the healthcare, medical instruments and supplies, and they are based out of Switzerland. ALC develops and manufactures eye care products for eye care professionals and their patients. It offers surgical products, while include technology and devices for cataracts, retina, glaucoma, and retractive surgery. So you can see there's a big long profile on what they do. And Steve is pointing out that ZTS, that's another stock that he follows, will hold up too. So people that really, if you want to invest into, you don't have to start out. People always say, oh, I don't have much money. Start out with $50 a month. You ain't going to buy a stock. You're going to invest into a mutual fund. Typically, you can open an IRA. Instead of paying taxes, why not open an IRA and reduce your tax burden? And, and then when you get to if you don't ever feel comfortable picking stocks, get into a mutual fund that like Vanguard, Fidelity. Vanguard is big, and they manage over $1 trillion. But you can see here that but sometimes people get caught up into following too many stocks, and then they pick too many losers and stuff like that. So here what happens is, like we're looking at ALC on Yahoo. You got a lot of information that was released just recently. Maybe some like a hedge fund bought some, or what the earnings were, or what the outlook was in there. So it's homework. It takes time to do it, but this is your money, I probably spend at least 2 hours a day following the market and checking out things. So ZTS, no, that should be no problem, Mansley. And I hope honestly to do more in the future, where I'm planning and I'm setting up things. I've been busy with a lot, and I'm starting to feel better. I had some health issues myself. Let's pull up ZT. I'm glad you're here because you're asking questions. This is the perfect when we have 30 people. I can put out a phone number and have people call in and say, hey, Pat, and we would pick 5 people. That was the wrong one, ZTS. I typed too fast and hit the wrong button. Yes, here we go. And have people, ZTS is $133 a share. Let's look at the profile. And this is exactly, so when you see a stock symbol, in my opinion too, never trade penny stocks. And that's what I thought. ZTS is in the healthcare industry, and Steve ready, but I can't see that chat right now. They do health medicines, animal health medicines, vaccines. So they do a lot of stuff for the veterinarian business, really. So there we go. Yep. And he said that. Zoetis is animal health. So we got 10 people on here, and I'm actually getting ready. We're going to have about another minute here. But I really want to grow this channel because I like educating and talking about hey, Crystal, thank you for stopping in. I really appreciate and I enjoy talking about the market. Currently, right now, I help a guy with 20 properties. I have a rental property. I invest in, I trade the market probably every week. Now I'm helping a guy with a $10,000 portfolio. Where would someone buy stocks? You would go and open a brokerage account at a company like Charles Schwab, E-Trade, Ameritrade, and that's where you would do it. E-Trade, is going to get bought out by another company, but they'll probably still have offices called E-Trade, and Charles Schwab bought Ameritrade. But again, with that being said, Ansley, how much money would you want to start out to invest? If you're going to only have $1,000 or $2,000, you want to basically go to like Vanguard, which you can fill out an application online. Everybody's worried about losing their money with those types of Vanguard. They are secured by the Security Exchange Commission, like $500,000. So there's no risk there. You're not investing into a personal, like Bernie Madoff, that you have to worry about those types of things. So if you're going to start out with $1,000, I would recommend that you open an account in a company like Vanguard, and then they can show you the top. In other words, you can actually say to them, hey, for example, I like Home Depot, I like Merck, I like Disney. I'm sure they could, oh, yeah, exactly. And at 13, you want to educate them about money. You know how many teenagers, my son started, my oldest son is 30, and over time he was putting $50. And I took over the years, he's $12,000. Just at a regular job, and I turned it into close to $40,000 for him. Once it got to a certain point, because we had mutual funds and stuff like that, once it got to approximately 8,000, 10,000, then I started picking the stocks, and I grew that into $40,000. And typically, I mean, like the 1 year I did 7 trades. When you get to a certain position and you feel comfortable with the stock, then you're buying large positions of $5,000 or $7,000 at a time, and you know that's what you're doing as far as that. But if you're going to be a person who worries about it and doesn't want to really get in, you know, don't go by the, you know, years ago, it used to be the taxi driver would recommend a stock. That's not the guy to do some of your own homework, but understand that growth stocks, you know, there's a lot to it. It took me this long. I'm 47 years old, and it took me this long to really, over the last 2 or 3 years, I've gotten that much better. Years ago, I used to fall in love with a name, example like Ford. And Ford basically has no growth. They are going to still make money. They're still going to sell a lot of cars. Hey, T, good morning. But they're not growing at the same rate that a company like Tesla is growing. I mean, look at people years ago that invested into Kmart or Sears, because those were names they knew. And now where are they now? Sears is basically out of business. Kmart is bankrupt and closed. And look at Amazon. Amazon, you could have, even when the market corrected back in 2000, you could have picked up at Amazon at $5, and just most recently it was over 2,000. Yeah, and there's always the joke that the market is bad or not investable if your taxi driver is giving you stock tips, and you know, there's always, if you understand the market, though, there is money to make on the upside and there's money to make on the downside. If you're in a mutual fund like Vanguard and you don't need the money, your 13-year-old son, he's not going to need that money for a long time. And once he gets working, instead of paying, and I show my, you know, the perfect example is with my son, the $10,000, $12,000 that he had invested over those 8-9 years that grew to 40. It was all pre-tax dollars. So basically the government was giving him a tax break to save, plus the company was doing a match. So a lot of these companies that you work for, if you put, for example, $1,500 away, they will match you up to a certain percent. So you're getting 100% return. So not are you putting $1,500, you're actually putting $3,000 to work. And again, it's pre-tax. I remember my son, when he first came home, was kind of complaining that he had $87 taken out of his check and he would have had $87 more. And I said, no, you wouldn't. I said, you would have had about $60 more, because don't forget, you would have been taxed on that $87. And I also said to him that you wouldn't have gotten the match that you did get. And that alone is worth it. So, but that's going to be it for today. If you guys can do me a favor, like, if you could share this, if you could comment below. I want to get to a point where I'm really, there's a lot of opportunity with it. I'm going to do some pre-recorded stuff, talk about credit cards, talk about real estate, talk about interest rates, talk about market. And I really like to get in the habit of really twice a week. Sometimes I get distracted with, I have a lot on my plate that I'm doing right now. I want to thank everyone. I looked, nobody was live, and I didn't want to talk about the mark. If you're going to do what does HALL stand for? Health and wealth. If anyone knows, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I've had some health issues, and I want to get back into. I go to see my almost said I go my oncologist. I go to see her on Friday. She's going to probably be a little tough on me because I put on 8 pounds of winter weight the last 3 months. But I'm hoping now, as the weather breaks, I can get focused on my health side of this channel, health and wealth. And you can't have wealth if you don't have health. I just lost a friend that unfortunately had cancer, and he died a wealthy man, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter because his health wasn't good. He had got esophagus cancer and passed away. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. I appreciate the support. Honestly, I do. Have a great day, and stay safe. Bye.